Greetings, all. Chuke here from Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Welcome to High Strangeness in Alaska, the Bigfoot studies. I've really been enjoying this series talking about Bigfoot and the paranormal, but I wanted to talk about something that you don't often hear about, and that is the importance of artists when it comes to Bigfoot and paranormal researching. Now, artists play a big part throughout history in criminal cases where police detectives will use artists to, take things from eyewitnesses and make a picture. And that's exactly what these artists have done in these Bigfoot studies. It's pretty amazing. Rob Roy Menzies, of course, we're going to feature him. He is an artist and he is an illustrator and professional artist. I love his paintings. I actually bought one of his prints. But he has actually done illustrations based on one of the more famous sightings in Northern California there, where he kind of highlighted areas and used his expertise to make it a little more better. As you can see here, I'll throw up some of his artwork. But I think it's great, and let's check in with Rob Roy about the artists. Well, one thing I wanted to talk about was the role of artists in Bigfoot sightings and cryptid. I think it's just such a great thing to have because a lot of these sightings are eyewitness sightings. These people aren't artists, and so artists are tasked with coming up, just like in a criminal case,
yes,
with a picture. Now, tell us about your art background.
Well, that's kind of what got me into the Bigfoot world or the community. With the birth of the internet came the interest back into my life, but I quickly realized there was not a lot of quality art out there, and this was in the early 90s. Hundreds of Bigfoot sites, right? But you go, it's like the same pictures they're all sharing, which is a crappy sketch, blurry picture, the whole thing. I started thinking, man, there is nothing credible out there that makes, because it's such a fantastic thing, Bigfoot, but, it doesn't help to have these kind of crazy, So I began kind of taking it upon myself. I felt responsible in a way because I'm an illustrator.
Yeah.
Totally interested. I've been drawing, creatures and monsters my whole life for fun.
Yeah.
So I started basically reaching out to people in the 90s via email and doing forensic drawings for them.
Very cool.
Bobby Short back then, she's dead now, rest her soul, but she would point out the more credible ones because she's already kind of taken the reports.
Right.
And I'll her website's still on the internet and it's still awesome. But you can see there's just so many stories. So I'll ask her. I say, man, what about this guy that saw this and that? Oh yeah, I can get in touch with him. So that's how I kind of started reaching out to eyewitnesses.
Right.
Mainly because I want to know what they look like.
Yeah.
The conflicting reports simply about the nose drove me nuts because some people would say more ape-like. Some people would call the hooded nose. It seemed to be a little
slitted
confusion.
nostrils like a bat.
Yes, and I know some of the eyewitnesses don't quite understand a hooded nose. Sometimes they meant, an open ape nose, but they say hooded nose. There was some confusion. But after a couple, it took me like about a year of drawing these things to realize, okay, the majority of people are describing just the nose as like a aborigine. That when they start naming things like that, and I have a visual, okay, interesting. I've heard it being described. What was the show called? It was a show in the 70s. There was a dad, Dynamite. Remember AJ Dynamite?
I remember.
All in the Family? No, that was the other one. Anyway, the dad had a distinct nose, and a lot of people point at that who are from my generation.
Interesting.
You remember this TV show? Oh yeah, it was like the dad's nose.
Huh.
Oh, okay, so that's kind of aborigine.
Right.
Almost like kind of a bigger, kind of wider nose.
Interesting.
Anyway, those are the little subtle details I'm looking for because that will change the whole face. You replace the nose with an ape nose. Wow, it changes the whole look.
Right.
And then people are calling these things more human. That would tend to help it be more human is having a kind of human-esque nose versus the open nostril ape nose.
Totally.
But I've heard it both ways. It seems majority are the hooded nose versus the ape nose, but they are out there.
What's a hooded nose?
Like us, it's
Oh,
hooded
okay.
over.
I see.
Think of it like a full ape nose is open like King Kong, making it
gotcha.
very difficult to swim.
Right.
They don't have a way to keep the water out of their nose. It just goes right in. That's kind of a big thing. Apes aren't usually known for swimming.
Right.
Not the great apes, primates. I mean, I'm sure they do, but
Interesting.
anyway, that's kind of in my
Okay.
experience. Same with the teeth. Do they have canine, sharp teeth?
Right.
The majority of eyewitnesses I've spoken to, they call it horse teeth. Big square, like chiclets, even yellow chiclets. I've heard them.
Wow. Without fangs.
Without fangs, and I've heard them with fangs. Like we have fangs, but
canines.
I imagine maybe they have a little more something there.
Interesting.
Maybe I've heard of fangs, but not often. Like again, it's kind of like the ape nose.
Right.
You'll hear people say, "Man," and some of them have gotten a pretty good look at their face.
Right.
And again, I don't know if that means there's different kinds.
So what's your background in art? You have a degree in graphic illustration?
I'm actually a professional illustrator.
Okay.
I went to art college and I got a degree, and I got my illustration degree. That's mainly what I'm strong in.
Right.
But we pretty much were taught. I mean, it was a 2-year college. We just went straight through it, giving us real life projects, that the world would give us. But being an illustrator, it's everything. Back then, anyway. Nowadays, everything's done with a computer.
We'll talk about that. So what
Yeah.
media do you like to use currently?
I love using acrylic paints
Okay.
and pencil. I still go back to that. I started with pencils. We all
Right.
probably did.
Yeah.
Pen and ink. I love pen and ink.
Yeah.
But acrylic painting, I love acrylic painting. My Bigfoot art, I do digitally.
Okay.
I take the pictures of the backgrounds because it's a lot funner for me.
Right.
It gives me an excuse to go out on my four-wheeler.
Right.
Plus, we live in this beautiful state. I mean, come on.
You do a lot of camping with your dog.
A lot
in
of
the summer.
camping, yeah. You see me, I'm always out on my 2 days off, adventuring, doing something, trying to get out and, chill out a little bit,
Right.
get a little break. But I go to some real squatchy places, and it's just beautiful.
Right.
So,
And then will you draw a Bigfoot?
Yeah.
And then just enhance it digitally?
I still draw the Bigfoot by hand. I'll actually have a little 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper,
Yeah.
and I'll just start usually I'm listening to podcasts or something to help, or coast to coast.
Right.
And I'll just start drawing little Bigfoots in different positions.
Yeah.
And I'll hit one that just looks, oh, there you go. That one looks cool.
Right.
And then I'll take that and match it with a cool background, kind of have an idea in my head.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do them now, like kind of eyewitness. If I heard of something, I'll try to go out and maybe duplicate that sighting.
Yeah.
Just for fun. Other times I just have fun with it.
Nice.
But yes, I do. And then I put everything in Photoshop, and then I airbrush the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I do all the airbrushing and paint, and I do it all by hand. And then some of the backgrounds I'll manipulate a little bit with some fog or sunlighting or something.
Awesome.
But anyway, it's just a fun thing for me to do.
And people can order your prints from wherever they are.
Absolutely. You can
in the
go to
country.
my Facebook page, which is probably the best place to see my art. And Facebook, go in there, and if you click on images,
Bigfoot Art Gallery.
go to
Facebook
Bigfoot
page.
Art Gallery, my Facebook page. And on every Facebook page, there's like blah, blah, and there's like images. If you click on that, it'll just show you all the images I've uploaded. And it's probably got all of my art in there.
And then since you do framing, they can have it framed however they want.
They
and
can.
shipped to
They
them.
can. I can either send them an 8x10, just on foam core with a poly sheet wrapped around it, shrink wrapped.
Yeah.
Or if they want to come in, I've got a bunch of my art already matted and framed, looking great. I sell a lot of it. I've got to put about 6 items on the wall.
Nice.
I sold a lot for Christmas, so it's happening.
So we talked about this. I kind of feel like AI is slowly killing, or fast.
Yes.
It's killing human artists. And I'm an artist myself who went to art school. It's kind of frustrating to see, isn't
I was a little upset about it
Yeah.
when it came out, and nobody was saying that.
Right.
But I am because I've been I remember when clip art came out in the 80s.
Right.
I thought, wow, that's going to kill a lot of artists.
Yeah.
Because now, you get Corel Draw
Right.
back then, or maybe you still can, and they come with 10 million clip art, and you have every kind of fish.
Put your logo together. And,
yeah, so that right there, it's like, wow, that eliminates. But now with the AI thing, it takes it a whole step further.
Yeah, in a few seconds, they can just have like a color,
I'm glad
cartoony, painted.
I'm glad I'm
Bigfoot
not a starving
thing.
artist out there just starting out right now.
Yeah.
That would be discouraging.
Really, yeah.
For people, because it was so hard to get them to pay you in the first place.
Right.
Now they just, oh, hell with that. You're too expensive. I'll just type it here and boop.
And it's kind of like plagiarism too, because they're pulling from human artists and
Yeah.
then just morphing it and making their own thing.
I mean, on the other hand, right now, I think it's in that phase where you can kind of tell.
Yeah,
It has
you
a
can.
certain look to it. You can almost tell an AI thing.
Yeah.
Of course, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's
Yeah.
going to be incredible, I think,
Right.
and probably be a problem.
And then it will be the true death of artists.
Probably.
But
Man,
hopefully
I don't know.
people will still like the principle of
I think
the
so.
spirit
I
of
think
a
there
human
will
artist.
Be. Yes. I think it's going to be more, it's going to narrow it down,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't discourage other artists from just doing things, because
Going to art school. And,
You go to art school, you have all this talent, and here you are. You can't compete with a guy typing in,
Yeah.
an agency that wants it right
Yeah.
now. Well, that'll take me a week to do. Oh, well, then hell with you. I'll just type it in here. And there it is. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in your face, too. Look at
Right.
that. See, you can't do that.
And top of that, AI is going to try to kill us someday too. So.
Yeah. Terminator. It's coming. It's coming.
It is.
So
even the scientists say it's coming.
I just encourage, take your time with it. Don't push AI.
Right.
Use other artists. Use humans.
Yeah, absolutely.
But oh well. I'm glad I'm the age I am now, because I'd be really, oh, this is going to kill me.
Oh yeah.
But
Right.
oh well. I'll frame AI. It doesn't matter to me now.
Yeah,
I'll
you've
frame anything.
diversified. So check out the Bigfoot Art Gallery's Facebook page, and from anywhere in the country. Do you ever sell to Canada? Send stuff to Canada?
I may have. I know my last 3 prints went to Florida.
Okay.
I've sent them to Ohio. I've sent them all over.
Okay.
It's just kind of random. Just people, if you want, I don't have a website where you can click on, like, it's easy. You have to work a
call
little
or
bit. You have to
email
call me or email me. And they're just, remember, I sell 8x10s for about $25 a piece,
Nice.
which is a great deal.
Yeah.
It's easy to mail then. It's
And
usually
that's in a foam core thing?
Yeah,
too?
foam
Wow.
core, polypox shrink wrapped. So it protects it, keeps it nice until you want to go take it out and get it framed. But the 8x10s are simple.
Yeah.
You can buy simple frames at your Walmart, Fred Meyer, Michaels,
Good.
versus spending $400 or $500 on custom matting and framing, which I wouldn't mind doing either. But
Yeah.
so I encourage people to, if you want prints, if you want my prints, give me a call. You get to talk to me too, or Pia, but
All right.
it's usually me.
Well, I'm going to pick one up myself while I'm here. So check out his Facebook page. And thanks for the interview, buddy. Well, I have to agree with Rob. We're both not really big on AI. I think it's an artist killer. I have kind of toyed with it just in my 360 Insta cameras, because they will stitch out the camera stick and it's kind of fun. But so far I have avoided using any actual AI artwork. It's fascinating, but I don't like that it kills the artist. But I am setting up my studio to start painting again, so I will have some Bigfoot artwork that I'm going to showcase, and I have got another batch of my Bigfoot patches, my PVC morale patches made, and I'll be doing a deal pretty soon where I'm going to be selling some patches, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and I will see you next Sunday.